Welcome!
Hi, everyone.
Here we are again.
Yes.
Behind the scenes with Santa and Mrs. Claus.
And boy, I'll tell you, we got a fun one to talk about this time.
We do, actually, yeah.
And actually, this is going to tie in with a lot of the videos that are already on this channel.
Yes, and actually the channel itself, as you may know, is a visit with Santa and Mrs. Claus
Yes.
for YouTube. And yes, we have quite a few videos up there that will you'll understand more about where those came from.
And yeah, how those came about.
Yeah.
So anyway, so and this is going to be kind of a multi-part thing.
Right.
We're going to talk a little bit about it, but we're also going to delve deeper in on the next one as well. So anyway, but yeah, so we actually had a TV program.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Believe it or not, yes.
We couldn't hardly believe it.
It was really an exciting adventure that we did.
Yes.
And we did it for an entire season, for like seven months or so.
7 months, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weekly.
Yes.
So we had a weekly television program. And it was through the good graces of Mountain Fun Life, which was produced by a gentleman by the name of Bob Denny.
Yes.
So, hey Bob, if you're still out there, we love you. And how that kind of came about, it was during the pandemic, which, as we all know, was a very different time for all of us. And this was at a time when everybody was staying in and looking for more, content and to watch new things. And this station out in
it was Pigeon Forge / Gatlinburg.
Yes.
And that's where it was located and it was geared toward that area.
Yes. Yeah, and all the goings on there.
Yes.
I mean, if you've never been to Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg, we would suggest you strongly make that a trip.
Yeah.
To go to. There's just a plethora of things to do.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But let's not get off too much about how we managed to get on the show.
That's right, because we want to keep this within a good time frame. So anyway, but what happened was we were interviewed by another dear friend of ours by the name of Frank Murphy. And Frank is kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to DJ and television specials.
Yeah.
And he works with PBS and does
he did a lot of community civic events like New Year's Eve, the dropping of the ball in Knoxville. He was kind of a man that everywhere he kind of popped up with all these special events.
Yes,
so,
and he was always on TV in and around the Knoxville area.
Yeah.
Well, he invited us down for an interview about our books.
Yes.
And, to talk about the different books and such. So we did. We went down and we had an interview. And after that interview, he approached us. He says, you guys, we're looking for content here because we need to fill this station with a lot of different TV programs.
Correct, yeah.
And he said, you guys are Santa and Mrs. Claus. You need to talk to the producer, Bob Denny, about doing a show on here. So so that's kind of how that spun around, and we actually did sit down with Bob and kick some things around. And he said, okay, well, we can try a pilot.
Yes, he said, why don't you come in, and that's what he said. He said, let's do a pilot. So that's
we came in the following week.
Yeah.
And we were just supposed to do, like about 20 minutes. And we did. We did a short pilot about, a visit with Santa and Mrs. Claus and our concept for the show. So when we were done with that, he says, well, how about weekly?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we went, huh?
Okay.
Why not? We weren't, it was the pandemic. We weren't doing much outside either at
No,
that time. We were
no.
pretty well locked in like everyone
Like
else.
everybody else, and the studio was relatively small.
Yeah.
Everybody wore masks except, of course, when we got on air.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't around a lot of people.
No.
So it was a safe environment for us.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we just, what we did is we came up with the concept of a story time with Santa and Mrs.
Yes.
Claus.
Yes.
And we read some books, not only our own.
No.
But we read some other books as well. And I'm going to tell you right now, when you're done with this video, or if you want to move on to one of those, they're all on our
Well, not
site.
every one of them, but most of them. Most of them are on.
The highlights.
Yeah. And we did. We reached out to other children's books authors, and we did that.
Got their permission to do this and put their books on and
yeah.
what have you, which they were very gracious about. So, yeah, and we had a lot of fun. And then Mary came up with the idea of, bringing on some of the internet stuff
Yes.
that kids could do at home and check it, things like the different zoos and
yeah, we showcased, I think, the San Diego Zoo, and then we talked about the Monterey Aquarium Park, and then there was, I can't remember whether it was through, I think it was through Dollywood maybe, that there was a web, like kind of like a webcam in an eagle's nest.
Yes.
So we tried to, introduce different things that kids might find interesting that maybe the parents didn't know existed.
And much to your surprise, I'm sure, a reindeer cam.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah.
How could you forget the reindeer cam? I mean, come on, this is us.
We did. We had that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we did different things, and then Bob came up and said, "Wow, this is going real well, and you're doing about 20 minutes to a half hour. How about doing interviews?"
Yeah.
And we went, "Huh?"
Yeah.
He says, "You must know some people. Why don't you bring them in?" Well, we wound up bringing in magicians and Elvis impersonators, Red Skelton impersonators, business leaders, multiple different businesses in and around that were doing either online sales or head shops or both.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun from that standpoint. So, well, you know what? Let's take a quick break.
Yes. We're going to take just a small break.
Just a small break, and then we're going to come right back and we'll finish talking about this.
See you in a minute.
Do you wish that Christmas could last all the year round, no matter which country you're in? With Traditionally Speaking, Tom Christie and Santa Joe Moore explore all of the different traditions of Christmas time, both in the United States, in Scotland, and all over the world.
So join us and learn some traditions for yourself.
You can find us on all of your favourite podcasting platforms, whether it be here, there, or anywhere. So find us wherever you like to listen to podcasts, and we'll be there at Traditionally Speaking.
And we're back.
Didn't even know we were gone, did
you?
But anyway, so it really came. I mean, we had some nice celebrities on there, and we had so much fun.
I think now would be a good time to explain the area and why we were talking to entertainers and different things, because this is a very the Smoky Mountains is a very specific area that, again, as Joe mentioned, if you're not familiar with it, you
need to be.
Yeah, and they have millions of visitors every single year.
Well, the Smoky Mountains itself is now getting 12 to 14 million
Million.
visitors every
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
which is, it's the #1 park in the United States.
Yes.
But the towns leading into
To
the
it.
park, it's amazing. There are all kinds of shows. The Titanic is there. Oh God.
Well, there's a lot of musicals,
museums.
museums, and in fact, and I think this is really where it kind of grew around too, is Dolly Parton, the
Dollywood.
singer,
Yes.
entertainer. She was actually born in Sevierville.
That's correct.
And
which is
that is
right
also
next to Pigeon Forge.
right, and that is also where her theme park, Dollywood, is located. So obviously her presence was huge in that area, and I think that spawned particularly a lot of the musical venues that are there, and it's just,
I mean, there's comedy shows that,
yeah,
and talk about restaurants, all up and down.
all up and down.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So if you haven't gone to the Smoky Mountains, and we'll talk more about individual places later on. So.
Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of shows, just a real quick, we're going to delve into this more, but I was in a show.
Yes.
So, and
Yeah.
that sprung from this too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, but so this kind of thing, it just kind of blossomed and grew, and boy, we had such a good time.
Yes.
We did special little outside things, like I wrote a Zorb, which if you don't know what a Zorb is, look up the video that we have on our visit with Santa and Mrs. Claus.
Yes.
I wrote it with Elvis.
Yeah, which truly was hilarious. I mean, absolutely hilarious.
I felt like a drowned and
yeah.
looked like a drowned
Yeah.
rat. So, I mean, you know.
Well, and I think we should talk a little bit in more detail about some of the characters that we did have, because it really was so much fun, and of course one was Elvis.
Yes.
We had him on the show several times.
Yes.
And he did sing. He performed.
Yeah.
And
And I'll tell you, you gotta see it to believe it. But
close your eyes and there he is. He really.
that's him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And he looks like him.
He did. He
So-
did. He really did.
And speaking of looking like a celebrity, Red Skelton. Oh
Yes.
my God.
Yes.
There's a thing on a gentleman that impersonates Red Skelton and
Yes.
has the family's permission to do this,
Mm-hmm.
and just did a phenomenal job. Oh
Yeah.
my God,
He really did.
and he has a nightly show, so
Yes.
you know, something else to look into.
Yeah.
And then actually, the Grand Majestic Theater was came by a couple times, and they brought some singers with them on one, and obviously Terry Evanswood, the magician, and phenomenal magician.
Yeah.
And he plays at the Grand Majestic, and he's come in
Yes.
on a couple of these,
And he's been there for many, many years.
Yeah,
and some of
yeah,
these performers have really been there a long time.
yeah.
Red Skelton was another one that has been
Oh,
there
he's been there like 20 years.
I think,
yeah.
20 years.
Mhm.
And you know, these shows are really good. They're not just
Full
thrown
production
together.
quality. No, yeah, no.
You
no,
know,
no.
you can bring the whole family. They're all family oriented shows. So when you go in, you don't have to worry about anything being not good for kids. So
Yeah. Mhm.
so we had just so much fun just interviewing those people. I mean, and it was great. We had
And then we had Bill Landry on,
Yeah.
who did the Tennessee series. Oh, for
Yeah.
years he was on
yes,
TV, and so just a lot of fun stuff. And please, we invite you to look at the other videos we
yeah.
have, and I'm sure you're going to find some things, and you're going to go, wow. And we did do a couple of our books as well.
yes. Yes,
So,
we did.
you know,
We did.
if
Yeah.
you want to see a little more closely of what we've done, that's certainly on there as well.
Yeah.
But, and we're going to delve into this again deeper on our next one, but there's some other things that we're going to talk about that actually sprung from this.
Uh-huh.
But one of the things that I will emphasize, though, is even though this was a small station in the Smoky Mountains,
Yeah.
boy, I'll tell you, we had like 6 cameras on us.
Oh,
We
yeah,
had a
full-blown
full
studio.
producer
Yeah.
and director, and you know,
Uh-huh.
I mean, there was a lot.
Oh, yeah.
This was professional all the way.
Yes.
So, and
I think
again,
it-
you'll see that in the videos.
Yes, and if you get some of the early ones, you'll see where they were all set up. We kind of were looking all over the place.
Mhm.
You know what camera you're supposed to look at. So it certainly was a
like-
learning experience for us.
Yes,
Yeah.
and like the recent Christmas Eve Journey video that we did was shot at the
Yes, at
MFL Studios.
That's
Yeah,
correct. Yeah.
so-
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're defunct now.
Yeah.
But at the time, boy, I'll tell you, that was, if you know, it's like if your dream is to be on a TV program, we could cross that off the bucket list. So we're going to leave you with that
Yes.
for now.
Yes.
And we're going to continue this in our next episode, which is on the 24th.
Yes.
And don't forget, we have new podcasts on the 10th and 24th of every month.
That's right.
And we're going to invite you to go to our website, please. And you know what? Very soon we're going to be doing a live video and inviting all of you to join us. So give us your ideas and comments and what questions you may want us to
Yep.
address.
So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. But in the meantime, take care and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.